Committee, thank everybody for being here. Begin with a moment of silence, please. Okay, thank you very much. All right, before we get going, just a couple of housekeeping matters. We're going to take public comment today. Do we have a list of people, how many people we have signed up? Anyone gotten to that yet?
We have 8 people signed up to speak
Great,
tonight.
great, thanks. We'll get to that. And for those of you that are here, this is a committee of 6 members, but you'll notice that there's a number of council members here. That should be encouraging to those who came here today that we are very interested in the matter that's at hand, which is the transportation sales tax. So the members of this committee that are here today are Councilmember Gregg, the mayor, Councilmember McBride, and myself. I believe Councilmember Brady will be here in a minute. We have one other item on our agenda before we take public comment on the TST, and that's to take up a few small housekeeping matters. So unless there's anything else, let's get right to it. First thing on our agenda is approval of minutes from November 12th, 2025. We've got a motion. Is there a second? There's a second. Any discussion, additions, deletions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next on our agenda is discussion regarding e-bike operations within the city of Charleston and potential ordinance. It notes Councilmember Gregg's name there, but I think we're all interested in this. I would just like to make a few preliminary comments. We have taken up at least preliminary discussions about e-bikes being added to our already existing city ordinance, and also to bring our city ordinance in align with state legislation on e-bikes. Some of our jurisdictions around us have also taken up e-bikes. I'm going to let Councilmember Gregg make a few comments, but my suggestion to this committee today is, if there's no objection, that we have a short discussion about the need to have something on the books about e-bikes, and then direct staff, our legal department, Mr. Somerville and Mr. Mathis, as well as the police department, to all get together and work on this, with the objective being to have something on an agenda for this committee in January to be brought through the city council no later than February. That's kind of the time frame that I had in mind. And if there's any questions, I'm going to turn over to Councilmember Gregg for some comments, and we'll go from there. Councilmember Gregg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yep, that's, I think we brought this up last month in a council meeting. This is probably the second greatest number of complaints I get is about e-bikes on city sidewalks and on city streets, particularly for people that are well under the age of 16. I think Mount Pleasant has recently enacted an ordinance to try to put some restrictions on this. They're requiring, I think, some additional registration, potential proof of liability insurance, and then additional fines. So I'd like to see something in addition to I think right now the fine is $50 for riding on a city sidewalk. I think that's far too low. The other thing I guess I'd like us to consider is how we're going to enforce something like this, because we all know we've got limited police resources. I hate to have them patrolling e-bikes, but I do think we need some kind of a crackdown right now. I'm concerned that somebody's either going to get injured on or injured by one of these in the near future. So I echo Mr. Seekings and asking that we try to get a motion, I guess, on the floor to ask legal staff to develop an ordinance for us.
I don't think we need a motion. We can just give them a directive from the committee if there's no objection. A couple things, though, just in sort of follow up to Councilmember Gregg's comments. One of the things we don't have in our city code at all is even a definition of what an e-bike is. And there's so many different permutation variations of motor, pedal assist, motorized bikes out there that actually are now mini bikes and mopeds, that we're going to have to get a handle on that. And to Councilmember Gregg's point about involving Chief Walker and his team, we've had some preliminary conversations with them. We certainly want to make sure whatever we put on the books is enforceable and is enforced. So that will be part and parcel of this discussion going forward. So Mayor, any comments from you? All right, any other member of the committee have any comments? If not, the directive will be to go work on amending our ordinance to bring e-bikes in line with bicycles, to make sure we're in compliance with state law, and to make sure whatever we do is enforceable and will be enforced. Fair enough? All right. I see Ms. Copeland back there nodding, so I'm thinking we're doing okay. All right, Mr. Mathis is nodding too. All right, next is public participation and discussion regarding City of Charleston transportation priorities for the potential future transportation sales tax referendum. I understand we've got 8 people signed up to speak.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
All right, tell you what we'll do, 8 people, we just got rolling. We'll give you each 2 minutes. If you'll just call them to the microphone here in the order they appear on your screen, please.
All right.
And just a reminder before we are talking about specifically priorities for this committee through the city council to be sent on then to the county on what we'd like to see included in any referendum that seeks to raise or to continue an already existing half-cent sales tax, right? Okay, thank you.
So there were 5 who signed up to speak in person and 4 online, but there was the same person online and in person. So the first one, I can't really read your handwriting. It looks like it says Aaron Mueller, but I am not sure that's what it says. So does anybody remember signing up first?
Who was the first person to sign up on the sheet when you walked into City Hall? That's who's first. All right? Number
Okay.
2.
Jay Hollis.
All right, keep going. We're
Joe McGee.
all right.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Joe McGee, President of the Charleston Village Association. I'm here with members of our board in our neighborhood. If some of them would please stand. And we also have some friends in the neighborhood from Radcliffe Borough as well. Thank you all. Trying to save the number of statements. A month ago, you approved the MUC overlay. Remember our discussions, I certainly do, to support major medical district expansion in the National Cancer Center. All good things. At that time, we urged you to get ahead of the transportation and flooding challenges that would accompany that growth. Those challenges are not theoretical, they're here now. Calhoun Street is failing under current conditions. It routinely closes during tidal events, heavy rain, and each closure brings the medical district down and downtown to a standstill. The corridor carries 20,000 vehicles a day, as you all probably know, including patients, caregivers, residents, thousands of regional commuters. When Calhoun shuts down, the entire peninsula feels it. Pressures are increasing. MUSC expansion, new hotels that accompany that expansion, West End development. The future LCRT terminus will be located there on the Calhoun Street. And Calhoun's role as a primary east-west artery will converge all in one place. Without a coordinated road and flood solution, access to emergency services becomes unreliable. Neighborhood livability erodes, and the investments you've already approved are put at risk. Charleston Village, Charlestown, Radcliffe Borough, the broader MUC community will need infrastructure that meets the scale of growth that you have enabled. Flooding and congestion are not isolated inconveniences, they are systematic failures that undermine safety, mobility, and economic vitality. We urge you to prioritize the Calhoun Corridor Flood and Mobility Project on the city's TST list. This is where the demand is greatest.
Time.
The stakes are highest and the public benefit is undeniable.
Thank you very much. Okay, who we got next?
Lisa Jones.
Ms. Jones. Welcome.
Hi. Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. I'm Lisa Jones, Director of Advocacy at Historic Charleston Foundation. Thank you for the opportunity to share our thoughts with you on the potential 2026 Charleston County sales tax referendum. As a nonprofit advocacy organization focused on community, culture, people, and places, we are deeply invested in this decision that will affect how we make improvements to our infrastructure network. We're also hopeful that we can put our support behind a referendum that is specific, transparent, and well-planned. A strong referendum will include adequate funding for green space, bike and pedestrian projects, transit, and drainage. We look forward to being part of those discussions. In terms of the projects that have been presented to the public by the city, HCF supports improvements to Lockwood Drive, Haygood Avenue, East Bay Street, Morrison Drive, and the Calhoun Street corridor. as well as design improvements to Hugie Street that improve the pedestrian experience. In general, we support transportation and infrastructure projects that improve resilience, drainage, walkability, connectivity, and good urban design, all contributors to Charleston's historic fabric. These improvements have the potential to increase our city's livability and the quality of life for all who enjoy Charleston. Thank you for putting time into this process, and we look forward to working together as the conversation progresses.
Thank you very much.
John Zlogum?
John Zlogar.
Gar.
Mrs. Zlogar, welcome.
Thank you very much. John Zlogar, representing the Johns Island Task Force. Let's see if I got this. First of all, thank you for going through this process. It's well attended, at least online, and I'm glad you're going through it. We've got 3 recommendations. The road project should result in near-term discernible safety improvements and congestion relief. And the operative phrase there is near term. We support the Johns Island projects the mayor had listed 2 TNT meetings ago. Second, an adequate amount of funding should go towards land conservation. These protected lands not only protect the environment, but they also reduce sprawl and reduce the infrastructure costs for putting in roads and other types of infrastructure. And third, the tax should be limited to a duration of no more than 10 years. Why? This will give the opportunity for the county to show they can complete projects in a timely manner. Finally, I want to thank Councilman McBride for being such a dogged advocate for Johns Island. Thank you.
And he thanks you as well. All right, who's next?
Katie Zimmerman?
Ms. Zimmerman?
Hi, I'm Katie Zimmerman, Executive Director of Charleston Moves. Thank you all for letting the public weigh in on the city's portion of a potential transportation sales tax. Number one, in thinking about projects across the board, and that includes not just project prioritization, but also in thinking about if the county has an annual allocation program in the future, how that coordinates with this larger effort. So safety, I recommend safety being your top priority in assessing projects. Greenbelt investment should reduce future traffic congestion. That should sort of be how you're lining up Greenbelt investment. Widenings are not sustainable. I would ask that you focus on splitting the mode share for a better return on investment. We know road widenings are a short-term fix for traffic congestion, if that, and they're incredibly expensive, resource intensive, time intensive, and they cause a lot of negative problems. We and East Coast Greenway Alliance put together a suggested list of priority projects for y'all to review. I provided that list for everybody here, including Mr. Mathis and other staff. So if you all would consider that list, be very appreciative. And the way we developed that list, we took what Mayor Cogswell suggested to heart, focusing on the Ashley River Bicycle and Pedestrian Bridge as sort of the hub, and then going out from there, making sure to assess network connectivity throughout all of your districts, except unfortunately, sorry, Councilmember Gregg, we didn't get yours in there for good reason, I guess. And then also tried to overlay that with what connects to projects that exist and projects that are in the works. And then we overlaid that with what you all have laid out as some potential road priorities. So I'd like to see your road priorities be complete streets projects. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Jim Hempill?
Mr. Hemphill. Thank you for coming. Oh, great. Thank you.
We've got a lot.
We'll get
of
a pass
passes
on.
too. We can make sure everyone has one.
Thank you.
Hey, y'all. Thank you so much for having us. I'm Jim Hemphill with the East Coast Greenway Alliance. Wanted to reiterate kind of what Katie mentioned in terms of commending you, this committee, Councilman Seekings, Mayor Cogswell, on the process. I think the way that we're thinking about programming our bike and pedestrian portion of the TST is novel in how the TST has been administered in the past. So thinking about filling those gaps to the health of the overall network, similarly to the way that we think of how our vehicle transportation system is operating and working together in unison throughout the county. So I think that's really important. The other note I wanted to kind of talk about is something I haven't heard discussed a lot, and that is kind of the need for dedicated maintenance funding for sidewalks, trails, multi-use paths. I think the city has done as good a job as any in the state in terms of making sure that private development is building out our sidewalk and multi-use path network. So you see it on Folly Road, you see it all around the city. Developers are building these paths. The problem is that they transfer ownership to the city. The city is responsible for maintenance. I think, as we take on more of these, that maintenance funding becomes really, really important. Just making sure that we can take care of what we have. So one idea for that is kind of an extra allocation program for maintenance or something along those lines. Not sure how it works, but just wanted to kind of raise that issue with you all, and maybe something you can talk about with your counterparts in other municipalities. Thanks for the opportunity, and look forward to working with you in the future. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
We also have a summary of comments submitted online.
Anybody else signed up?
No.
Is there anybody else from the public who'd like to be heard on this matter today that hadn't signed up? Oh, yes, sir. Ms. Fowler, come on. I thought I'd heard your name online, but no worries. Happy to have you.
I'm Sandy Fowler. I'm representing the Radcliffe Borough Neighborhood Association, and I don't need to reiterate the facts that Joe laid out about all the issues related to the Calhoun West Corridor. I just want to lend support from our neighborhood group that this is a critical problem that obstructs the entire crossing of the peninsula, access to the medical university, and we want to lend a strong voice to inclusion of the Calhoun Corridor flood mitigation in the sales tax request. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. All right. Anybody else that's here that hasn't been heard? Yes, sir. Please give us your name and 2 minutes, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Sean Coughlin. Thank you for your public service, and I'm glad to be a part of this this effort. I live with my wife and 4 children on Cypress Street downtown, sort of near Hampton Park. While a lot of these projects sort of are adjacent to the concerns that I'm going to bring up today, I think these are unique and worth considering. I'm working on a new tech project called Lookout. It is a tech product designed to deter unsafe neighborhood driving using accountability, playfulness, and humor. I'm a serial software entrepreneur, investor, early stage technology. I'm just going to read a few parent testimonials related to the problem that we're tackling. So this is from Wagner Terrace. I typically yell, do a hand gesture, arms up, thumbs down. And if the situation is extreme, I'll get the license plate and call either 411 or 911 to report. From Hampton Park Terrace, I usually drop an expletive loudly in their direction, and when I'm really upset, the old bird flips up. Again, from the same neighborhood, sometimes I scream at or spit on the cars as they drive past. That's good to know. Thank you for illuminating. And this is from Radcliffe Borough. We feel helpless with solving safety for kids in the street. I'm resigned to moving being the only realistic solution, which is sad because we love where we live, willing to do anything at this point. So the issue is obviously unsafe driving, and it's connected to all of these particular infrastructure ideas, widening ideas, sidewalk ideas. And so I just want to introduce some of these concerns. I know they're not new to many of you, and introduce myself. And my business partner, Davis, is here with me. He lives downtown as well. So just wanted to thank you for your service and put that forward. Thanks.
All right. Thanks for coming down. Anybody else before we close out this public comment period? All right. You got a summary for us, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. 36 comments were received requesting the following: support for the Calhoun corridor improvements, better bike lanes and pedestrian sidewalks along Spurrell Avenue, traffic calming measures and intersection improvements at Anderson and Camp, and flood mitigation on Brockman, improved traffic congestion caused by the Starbucks at the corner of Rivers Point Row and Folly Road, traffic calming measures in the Creek Point subdivision and other improvements to the area, that funding be included for Calhoun Street drainage, that the committee to use the Green Transportation Pyramid for transportation decision-making, that council and the committee to move forward with bike pedestrian improvements on James Island, more and safer traffic crossings and bike pedestrian infrastructure along Folly Road, that Washington Street be added for the improvements under consideration for East Bay and Concord, that at least 3 connections between Ashley River Road and Glen McConnell Parkway, that's not a full sentence, improvements to Battery Island Drive, that all one-way streets on the peninsula to two-way streets, improvements to Harborview Road, Folly Road, Lockwood Drive, and Haygood Avenue, support of all drainage and resiliency efforts, including Calhoun West and the perimeter protection through the transportation sales tax, that the city research and add even more traffic calming measures, road improvements in Elliottboro, that all tax increases be opposed, road and traffic improvements throughout West Ashley and the peninsula, the prioritization of infrastructure and land preservation before any further development is approved. One letter was received from Councilmember-elect Leslie Scardon requesting that the committee consider multiple critical infrastructure needs on James Island. One resolution was received from the Charleston Village Association in support of the Calhoun corridor improvements, which were distributed to you all. And this is just a summary of the comments submitted online. All of the comments in full were distributed to the committee for their review before the meeting.
Thank you very much. And all those comments will be added as part of the record with their authors and their addresses. So we will have input. It seemed like it was pretty widespread around the city input. All right, that closes our public comment period. That's the last thing on our agenda. Is there anything around the table here to be said by this committee before we pass this along to the mayor tonight at City Council?
Well, we've got the last presentation on the.
Oh, got another
That'd be great.
presentation.
That'd be
Oh, I have at it. Great, thank you. We're having another presentation. Awesome. Thank you.
Spoiler alert, you've seen a lot of it.
Where's that on my agenda?
Is it not on there?
No, it's good. We're adding it.
Public participation.
There you go.
Public
Mayor, you're
participation.
now part of the public participation.
Your microphone.
It's the discussion regarding, there we go. See, we got our parliamentarian here. So again, this is, a lot of these slides you all have seen. This is the last of these meetings.
Get going. Get a lot of people in here, so I'm gonna move that podium.
Sure. So again, this is the 4th and final meeting that we have relating to this before it goes to these priorities and before it goes to council, which again will be first reading at council. So there will be time to make modifications, tweaks, et cetera, which you'll hear a little bit more in a minute. That meeting for council, though, again, is on December 2nd. So coming up, first reading. This you've already seen, kind of how we've broken it down. Won't get back into this. Did want to add this. We have a typo there. The population split that we went over, I put an ad here. I think we've got a late slide here that should be coming in because Councilman McBride's made a really good point. This is the existing and current population. We also need, we're working on updates for where the projected growth will be and trying breaking that down based on area as well. And again, this isn't meant to be overly scientific so that we'll divide it up based on that, but it certainly is an important factor when we're determining where our priorities are and where our funding should go. Now, these are the Johns Island projects, the Maybank widening, and I really do respect what the points that were made on by Charleston Moves, that widening oftentimes doesn't work, but I think on this particular case, having that one lane stay two going off the island will make a pretty dramatic impact. Maybank, Southern Pitchfork and Roundabout, Main Road, Chisholm to Plow Ground, Maybank Main Street improvements, and River Road intersections and shoulder widening. So these all were discussed in previous meeting, and same thing with James Island. These were the list, and I won't go through them all just to move on through this. No real changes here from what was discussed and at the last couple of meetings. West Ashley, again, select widening on 17 and other drainage and improvements, intersection improvements, safety improvements. Glen McConnell intersection at Magwood, looking at different alternatives there. And then Ashley River Road, again, safety, partial raising for flood and other improvements, safety related, bike ped related, et cetera. Downtown, Lockwood and Haygood improvements. This would include the local share of the battery extension for the western alignment. So I want to be very transparent and open about that. It would also include improvements on Lockwood, on Lockwood, the road itself, as well as Haygood, East Bay Morrison, Morrison and Concord. That too would be a portion of the local match for the eastern alignment, but there are other local funding sources that would come in for the eastern alignment. So I want to be really clear for the perimeter protection. This is not completely paid for on the local match by the TST at all. There would be other revenue sources that would come in. This would be the only ones that would be related to pretty directly to road projects. Calhoun corridor, again, similar there. We've heard a lot about that. That is an essential artery in and out of our city and job centers. And then the last one, UG Street improvements. And that's, I think, important to note too, in terms of safety. The idea there is to make that a much more bike ped friendly corridor east-west across the peninsula, as well as on Calhoun Street and others that we're talking about, but really see that being a northern link to the low line to the western side of the peninsula as well. So the next steps, I think this is really important. We want to make sure that this is not just Charleston alone. We've been talking about communities on the west side of the Ashley River, that like Folly Beach, Kiowa, Seabrook, Town of James Island, Hollywood, Ravenel, all of them we want to make sure are involved in this dialogue and at the table, and their voices are heard. So we're going to sit down with them with what our priorities are and see where there's alignment. I think there will be a lot of alignment because, again, Folly Road to Folly Beach is obviously a pretty critical artery. Same thing with 17 and Ravenel, Hollywood, et cetera. Any and all improvements on Johns Island affect Kiowa and Seabrook. So I think there will be good alignment, but I do think it's really important to make sure that we engage with them and they're part of this conversation. Even though the county's doing a great job reaching out to them too, but as our neighbors that really tie directly in with our efforts, want to bring them in. One other small side note on that too. I noticed Councilwoman-elect Scarden gave some comments. I'm meeting with all the newly elected council members on Monday to talk in part with them on what their priorities are so that they will have some certainly involvement in this, even though they aren't sworn in until in January, but want to again make sure that their voices are heard as well. So that's the first next step. The second would be we've engaged a consultant to get us updated numbers, primarily on the road projects, and then as we've discussed in the last meeting, what are everybody's priorities for bike ped, greenbelt, that sort of thing. We've gotten feedback and information from a lot of you all, but not everybody. We have until December 2nd, or really until the agendas go out. On this, we're not going to get overly specific, but it would be good for us to have an internal list on where we are and we can share with the county. But again, it's just now's the time to get organized, put pen to paper on this. But sidewalk projects, for example, will in all likelihood not be spelled out in detail on the ballot measure, right? So yeah, this is an old slide deck. So again, we've talked a lot about resiliency and flooding efforts. I wanted to thank Councilman Seekings for the picture on the right, which he showed me, I think. And Amsterdam, we're talking about water. This is very appropriate. That is Calhoun Street there, so case in point, underwater. And just emphasizing the point with Lockwood, with Calhoun, but also with 17, with 61, how we are battling water, and this really needs to be part of the TST allowances. I want to tell you all this, just kind of an update. We've been talking a lot with the county, and I think there is certainly an openness to this and a willingness and a desire to help. They've been very communicative, willing to work and push DOR. So I'm honestly very optimistic that we can get this all sorted out, and this is not going to be an issue. When you dig into it, there's plenty of precedent. It's just, we want to have all I's dotted and T's crossed. And again, just want to reiterate, the county has been very receptive and open to this and is by no means saying no to anything. So there's been some rumors about that. I just wanted to put that to rest. And then this last point I wanted to just highlight here is when we talk about where revenue comes from, this I think is just like those flooding pictures. This is a map that was done in part of a presentation several years ago talking about the acreage value or value per acre. And you can see where a lot of our revenue comes from. It comes from commercial properties, and these commercial properties, and this is not just sales tax revenue, this is business license fees, almost half of our city budget comes from generally commercial properties, not residential properties. So if you look at this map, I mean, you can just, I think it's appropriate here because it's not just downtown, which is pretty stark in terms of the revenue that's provided there, but look at 17, look at 61, look at Harborview Road, look at Sam Rittenberg. I mean, these are where all the commercial properties are. This is where our income comes in from. This is what we need to protect. So again, I thought this was just an appropriate slide to put in here, talking about, where the revenue comes from. So again, reiterate this. This is your homework, guys. What are your priorities, your Greenbelt priorities, your bike ped priorities? Really hats off to Charleston Moves and Greenbelt Alliance, or Greenway Alliance, because they did a very detailed list. I encourage you all to look at it. It's very thoughtful, connects a lot of different things, a good place to start from. And then again, sidewalks. This is just, again, more for internal stuff. But if you can get this to staff as soon as possible before the agendas go out, it would just be good to have for the record, because we want to have that all buttoned up for our December 2nd meeting. Now that's concludes my kind of last presentation, and appreciate everybody's patience and work involved on getting this thing put together.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions, comments from any member of the committee or any member of council who's here today with us? So you know what the next steps are. If all of you have not done so already, please communicate with the mayor and his staff about your priorities on some of the other projects that he outlined on the bike ped and the sidewalks, which is, again, we talked about this at our last meeting. The things that people notice are the smaller things, and we will have an opportunity to attack some of those things with this half-cent sales tax and get things done in timely fashion that make a difference in our neighborhoods to our constituents and that people can see, feel, and touch. Sidewalks are my favorite thing to talk about. So please get your list into the mayor before Friday, right? Anything else from any member of this committee? If not,
Just a question, just a comment for you all, you've been here a long time. For the last iteration for the 2024 sales tax, was this level of integration a part of that process, or is this a big improvement?
It was not, to say the least. No, we'll leave it at that. We hope that this will have a very positive effect on those who ultimately, which is not us, it's the people who are here today who actually go to the polls on election day to vote in favor or not of a extension of what is a vital portion of our revenue streams to handle infrastructure. This is important to get into their hands. They understand what government is going to do with their money going forward. And this has been a great exercise internally. Look forward to seeing what other jurisdictions come up with, and it all gets melted in at county council, I guess sometime in March. We'll probably know a little bit more, or April from them, right?
Yep. And just a little bit of an update. I met with all three mayors today, as well as Superintendent Nita Huggins, to talk about this. And, there's a lot of support behind this. And we understand we need to be organized and thoughtful about it. And there's a commitment to do that. So we need to get this right, and appreciate, again, everybody leaning in. And, it's going to be really important to educate the public on just how important this is moving forward.
Super important, because this is a public comment period for those who are here. It's also important for not just us sitting around this table, but your county council members and your state legislators to hear from you about what your priorities are, because that will all get thrown into the mix as well. So please don't stop advocating, keep advocating, which I know you all will. All right, anything else from this committee or for any member of council? If not, by acclamation, I'll call this meeting successful and adjourned, and look forward to seeing you all in just a few minutes at Ways and Means. Thank you.